new at 6. Chicago's most daring gangland hit since the St. Valentine's Day massacre. 2 outfit figures found buried in an Indiana cornfield.
It was exactly 40 years ago tonight. The FBI, Indiana State Police, and sheriff's deputies just southeast of Chicago were posted up at this grisly scene. The Spilotro brothers, who'd been missing for 8 days, were unearthed by a Newton County farmer who had noticed freshly turned soil.
The deaths of the mob brothers, Tony and Michael Spilotro, changed the course of the Chicago outfit. Our investigative reporter, Chuck Goudie, was on the scene in that cornfield 40 years ago and joins us tonight with the case that generated a blockbuster Hollywood movie and reformation of the outfit.
Yeah.
Chuck.
Allison, Stephan, you remember this guy. Tony Ant Spilotro was the hard-nosed Chicago head of the mob rackets in Las Vegas. His brother, Michael, was an outfit associate and sometimes Hollywood actor. On June 22nd, 1986, 40 years ago right now, the Spilotro brothers were found dead in a cornfield grave 68 miles from Chicago, planted there by outfit bosses who saw Tony Spilotro as a degenerate hoodlum who could no longer be trusted.
Spilotro, your attorney says you're being framed. They're setting you up.
In 1986, this young reporter was questioning Tony Spilotro about his uncertain future, not long before he and his brother Michael vanished. Outfit leaders had enough of Spilotro's violent public outbursts and party boy image, according to law enforcement, who were not surprised that the Las Vegas boss landed 6 feet under.
He's really the most infamous mobster in Las Vegas history, Tony Spilotro.
The Spilotro brothers' not-so-final resting place in this Indiana cornfield became a turning point for the outfit, turning away from routinely using murder as a disciplinary tool. The Chicago mob had racked up more than 1,200 gangland hits since Al Capone's days, nearly all still unsolved. Since the Spilotros were killed, outfit violence has slowed to a trickle.
The murders of Tony and Michael Spilotro in 1986 changed so much for Las Vegas and for Chicago. And they kind of discovered that, murders were not good for business, right?
Here in Las Vegas, outfit expert and organized crime researcher Jeff Schumacher says the Spilotro case from 40 years ago is now a popular new exhibit at the Mob Museum, keying on the 1995 movie Casino, in which actor Joe Pesci vividly portrays Tony Spilotro and the violent death he and his brother faced 40 years ago.
What you see in the movie is you see the body kind of moving at the bottom of the grave site. And they're pouring, they're dumping dirt on him. Well, they wanted that body to move, and they didn't want to have a real person down there, so they created this animatronic image of Pesci. We have that in our collection.
In real life, Schumacher says the Chicago outfit reins have been loosened in Las Vegas.
After Spilotro, there was a lot of speculation in the newspapers about, who's going to succeed him? Who's going to take over for Spilotro in Las Vegas? And ultimately, the answer was nobody. They kind of pulled out and they were done.
The Spilotro killings were effectively solved during the last big federal mob case, Operation Family Secrets, in 2007. Prosecutors said that 40 years ago, Tony was lured to a house in Bensonville where his brother Michael was supposed to become a made member of the outfit. Instead, top mob bosses beat both men nearly to death, then buried them in that Indiana cornfield. Recently, a Chicago judge approved victims' restitution to Michael Spilotro's widow, an estimated $280,000.